Safar, what do you call home today?
Morning. I set out on a journey. Every day we are on the safar. All of us have gone our own way. Islamic Civilization Center. Who walks into this place lives with a deeper understanding of who the Uzbek people are. I'm talk about with the mother of a daughter, the Director of UNESCO in Uzbekistan.
من Sara Noshadi سفر uchun مخصوص.
Safar, what do you call home today?
At first, I thought we need to record this podcast at the kitchen. I don't know, because we are women, like a homely atmosphere, foods. But then I believe that we have grown from this space. And Miss Sara, متشكرم for coming this my podcast. I'm going to discover you like the woman behind the mission.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Again. And you see this project, and how is your impressions about this project? Did you like it?
I had the pleasure of visiting this project a few times since
few times.
Yes, 2022 when I arrived in Uzbekistan. I know a bit about it. It's the Center of Islamic Civilization. I know how it is important for Uzbekistan to bring research and studies to the Islamic civilization. It's part of a new renaissance for Uzbekistan.
Yes. But first time I came there, they said, girl, it's not museum. It's unique pride place. Then I understand because of like these pictures, like a really spirit.
Yes. And I think it reminds us all, at least for me, who is from the region, a collective history and that we have, and the Islamic civilization, as we say. When you look at the miniatures and the paintings on the walls,
this place not only for Muslims but for the whole world.
Yes, you see tourists outside who would like to come and visit, but they're not allowed yet, right?
Yes, right. I guess you feel that. I will give question about UNESCO, and as you know, first time UNESCO General Conference will held outside of Paris in Samarkand, and Uzbekistan is the first country. UNESCO Uzbekistan International Prize named Biruni.
Yes.
And it is the result of hard work, of meetings, and negotiations. And what was I'm sure it's your own professional achievement.
No.
Yes. Okay. Do you consider it like your own professional?
Not at all. I consider this Uzbekistan's achievement because Uzbekistan dared to dream. You said the first Central Asian, the first country after 40 years that suggested to host General Conference in Samarkand was Uzbekistan. And when you say the first country after 40 years, before that also, that was happened only once outside Paris. No one else, no other country in these 40 years dared to dream to suggest such a big project.
Like
yes.
Inside, like butterflies is going on because the date is coming this for.
Yes, we already feel the
butterflies
pressure of preparation. Yes, we do.
Okay, and is it like a little bit different preparation outside of the Paris, and it's not challenging?
Not little bit different. It's completely different. It's
Oh, yes.
not just
And
little bit.
it's not challenging, but it's 100% challenging.
Yes, it's all challenges. But that's very interesting thing to do also because, of course, I have a very, very little role in that compared to the government of Uzbekistan
you're
who's
so
hosting,
humble.
and my colleagues who are coming also from Paris, who've been organizing that always in Paris. It's for all of us, for UNESCO people. I think it's a bigger challenge than for Uzbekistan because we never imagined this conference outside Paris. So
Even
it's
imagine.
not even in our imagination. So first you have to imagine something
Yes.
and then do it, right?
Then goal.
Yes. So it's a challenge, but I think it's a beautiful challenge because it's like every new perspective, it gives us a new perspective to do something different. You're right, and I think every new perspective gives us lessons about ourselves because we have to see things and ourselves differently.
From a different perspective after 40 years.
Yes, I mean, when you say 40 years, some of us, not me, I'm older than 40, but some of us who is working for this haven't been even born 40 years ago.
Yes.
So
One
it's
people.
not, yeah, so it's not, when we say, it's the first time in 40 years, we should remember that we have no one who actually worked 40 years ago in organization of that conference outside Paris. So it's like the first time.
Oh my God. You are the older person who helps to the Paris, I guess.
I see ourselves really in our office in Uzbekistan is only a small part of it. And we're very proud, of course, to contribute. But I consider it all Uzbekistan's achievement because it was Uzbekistan who dared to dream and then go the path of suggesting it and making it happen.
I'm feeling butterflies as if I say like a child. You came there till 2022?
Yes, I arrived in Uzbekistan.
What kind of stereotypes you had about Uzbekistan?
I didn't have stereotypes about Uzbekistan before 2022.
Even though we are
the first time I arrived in Uzbekistan was 2007. So I know this country like as a tourist, and then I came a few times because I was working in Afghanistan for UNESCO. It wasn't far. I would fly to Tajikistan and then come by road to Uzbekistan. So I think I knew Uzbekistan quite well. But the stereotypes before 2007, before I come the first time, was of course Samarkand and Bukhara, and this beautiful country with the history, and it was very close to my stereotype, like what I discovered. Yes, there was just one thing different. The government and the organization of the country it's very different from other countries I know, which is Middle
Structure,
East.
you mean?
Very structured. Yes. And that was new for me to work in a very structured system. Because I think the countries of Central Asia they have a different culture of government and governance than Middle East or Iran or Pakistan. We're a bit messy.
About people or traditions. Actually, you cannot, or you have shocked about our tradition, no?
No, I share a lot of those traditions. No, we do share a lot of those traditions.
You had more, I think.
It wasn't, never a culture shock, really. Yeah, I'm very lucky, no?
I'm not shocked. I had an immune system.
Just because is as if I haven't traveled far from my home.
More.
I haven't, because Uzbekistan, I come from the region.
Yes. From Afghanistan there?
Yeah. After Afghanistan, I went to Paris, working for Iraq, like one of UNESCO's largest reconstruction campaigns, reconstruction of the cultural heritage elements in Mosul after ISIS, after Daesh.
You said cultural heritage. What really interesting for me, what part of Uzbekistan's cultural heritage not yet appreciated, not fully discovered?
I think the intangible heritage part is not yet fully discovered and appreciated. Not that everyone knows built heritage, but that part of heritage, Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva, is well known. At least people have a dream, an idea about this. But the silk weaving, for example, in Margilan, that's not yet fully discovered, and that's both intangible heritage and tangible, because it's also tangible because this is what people wear.
Yes. What would you like to put there? Like, of course, okay, Margolan, and had the Lazge we have.
Silk weaving and the textile, traditional textile. And maybe...
You mean hand?
Yeah, traditional Uzbek textile, atlas, adras, bakhma. These are not really properly... Suzani, yes. Suzani, it's more regional. Like you have it in other countries. But there are atlas and
adras is
bakhma, very Uzbek, you know. And it's something Uzbekistan has still to offer to the world.
Okay, nice idea that you gave.
I think
someone will inspire it.
The country also has nice ideas. You have a lot of investment in textile sector, and I think the country is aware of this potential. I think you should invite, and I'm sure this is also happening. It's not, how do I say it? The ideas, there are a lot of ideas, but of course doing it not that easy. But I think Uzbekistan needs to should more cooperate with major fashion, yes,
in fashion industry.
In fashion industry and designers, and not fast fashion. I mean,
traditional.
No, not traditional for Uzbekistan, but I mean the high-end designers in the world, global, known, to get to know Uzbekistan's textile, and they will have a lot of ideas, you know, to build things together.
In Paris, if I guess, they are using our adras.
Yes, I've seen also in a few. Yes,
but they are using even Africans' textile.
Yes,
from Central Asians textile, but they are like making mix.
Yes,
Uzbek and Africans like this.
Yes, there are cases here and there, but I think there's a lot more to offer.
But we have no like these combinations, Africa and Uzbekistan textile like this.
Interesting.
You had in Afghanistan, you had in Iraq, and countries where cultural heritage is more destroyed.
Yes.
What is the like to witness culture disappearing and try to save it?
You know, I loved my years in Afghanistan, and it's so dear to me, but it's very frustrating.
Oh my God.
Because once culture, especially cultural heritage, is destroyed, you can't do anything.
You can't do
anything. You can't reconstruct them, and it's frustrating. And it's very refreshing to work in Uzbekistan, where the country has a positive narrative. Things are improving. You know, especially for me after working in Afghanistan and for Iraq.
Contrast.
It was, yes.
Really contrasted.
It was so good. I remember I was watching news. I mean, of course, still it makes me sad what's happening, but at least it won't be my job. It is, I think I will never, I can't say never, but I will never go and work in war zones anymore because it's taxing emotionally.
Yes. It's real emotional damage. Not only emotional, but your heart will like break. You feel
Yes, it's depressing, but again, I loved what I was doing, but I prefer Uzbekistan.
tourists, other people who come to Uzbekistan, they are saying that they are prefer Uzbekistan than other countries. But our people, not all, they are to see cultural heritage of other countries, left in their country, and sometimes never come back.
It's normal. It's a human.
Being
Yes, it's a human condition, wanting to try different things and having a choice. I my background is anthropology. I'm an anthropologist by education, so I see humans all alike across the world, and doesn't matter where we live. We share much more than our differences. So yes, I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting something different.
I'm Uzbek. What I need to be proud of? What need to be ashamed of?
Diversity of culture expressions that you have, the diversity of different cultures and different people, ethnic groups who live together peacefully. This I love it. And it's not, maybe for you it's natural because you're Uzbek and you always lived with all, in one country with all these different ethnic groups, even languages, but it's not natural in many countries. So I think not just about Uzbekistan, anywhere in the world, I think this is the most beautiful part of humans' life, the diversity. And Uzbekistan has that diversity, and I like that.
Reason for being ashamed?
I have none.
I have no.
You can't. Really, I can't think about anything, even not just because it's Uzbekistan, about any other culture or country. I wouldn't say anyone needs to be ashamed of anything.
You grown up in Shiraz, and what's your favorite singer?
My favorite
singer?
I don't. I mean, I listen to music, but because I'm not a good, I don't have music ear, so I can't tell you about songs. But I love Hafez and Saadi and Rumi poems, and I still read them, even though I'm unfortunately far away from my own language, just because I'm outside. Yes, but
original.
Yeah, I read poems.
Okay.
And I love, like, here around, there are writings in Uzbekistan museums or in Uzbekistan text. I love to see the writings that I can read. You have, for example, Uzbekistan's archives have some of best and most famous manuscripts of Rumi or of Saadi or of Hafez, and I love to go and visit, for example, in Biruni Center or in National Archive Center, and enjoy reading them. I mean, just because it reminds me of this collective culture and history and this common history we have.
Rumi's poems, like sophistic, they are so like, you will read one and you need hours to understand a meaning, and then after one day you will understand another meaning.
This is what is special about Rumi's, also because that's why it's well known across the world, also because everyone understands as much as of their capacity and what they're ready to understand from that
at that part of time. And when you read one book, after a time you will understand other heroes, and you will choose that hero. After a time, all time you will choose another hero, as I understand. Are there Uzbek artists, musicians, or someone who's in the creativity you inspire the work, or Atlas who is doing?
I love the paintings of Babur Ismailov. His paintings, I love them so much. Also many Uzbek designers, but I don't name them because it looks like
unknowns.
Exactly. It looks like advertising.
You talk with them in what language?
I studied during the time I'm here. I studied both Russian and Uzbek for like 2 years. So I shouldn't say that because then you expect me to say something. But I'm very bad at
Say Ghazal.
yes, I'm very bad at speaking a language that I'm not ready yet. So I understand 50-60% Russian and I understand 60-70% Uzbek. But I'm not really ready to fully communicate. I mean, I continue at this age, at my age, you don't start learning a language unless you want to make it your life project. Because you can't say, oh, I studied this language 2 years and I drop it. So for both languages, when I started, I told myself this is a life project. After leaving Uzbekistan also, I'm going to continue. And because both of them are very useful and Uzbek is a Turkic language. So once you learn it, then you learn, you understand the whole Central Asia, you understand Azeri, you understand Turkish. And also in my own country, in Iran, Turkish language or Azeri is the second most spoken language. So it will be useful.
What phrases you hear more in Uzbek?
What I hear more? Ozgina.
Ozgina. Ozgina vaqtli ketsam bo'ladimi ishda?
Yes.
Can I go a little bit earlier that work? When I thought about Safar, I thought, is it Persian word? Safar.
Safar is Arabic, but we use Safar also in Farsi, in Persian.
In Farsi, Safar, it's like journey.
Travel, journey. Yes.
Travel. Favorite places in Tashkent to eat? It will not be announced. You can tell 5.
Yeah, let me not name a restaurant. I'll say my favorite food.
Okay.
I like shivit osh.
Shivit ash?
Yes, it's from Khorazm.
Did
I
you
like
learn
pulao.
it how to cook? No?
No, of course not.
No.
I eat at a restaurant.
Even I'm not.
You haven't heard of it?
No.
It's very delicious.
I will Google shivit ash.
Yes, it's something like a pasta made with shivit.
Is it inside a bread?
Inside, yes,
The bread.
inside the pasta. Shivit already. Yeah, they made it, It's a green pasta.
You were born in Iran. You were work in Iraq and Afghanistan, in Uzbekistan. And what do you call home today?
What?
What do you call home today?
Oh, where do you call home?
Yes.
It's a painful question. Because when you start to call more places home than just one place, then at any given time, you feel nostalgic about other places. So I was much happier when only Shiraz was my home. But then Paris became my home. And then Kabul became my home. And then Tashkent became my home. And now at any given time, I miss 3 other places. I didn't live in Iraq. I worked for Iraq from Paris. So I'm nostalgic about 3 other homes wherever I am. I really now currently Tashkent is my home. And then when I'm in Paris, I miss Tashkent and Kabul and Shiraz. And Tashkent reminds me so much of Kabul and Shiraz. The weather, I don't know. There's something in the air that reminds me of those cities, and that makes me miss them even more. And it's so sad also because I look at Tashkent and I said, this is what Kabul could have been. From the first evening I entered Tashkent, this is what it reminded me of. What a pity that this could have been Kabul, Afghanistan.
Home is like connected with people.
Mm-hmm. No, for me, people are just part of it. The place, like with all of its feelings.
Uh-huh.
That comes, as I said, it's just like sometimes you just close your eyes and you feel you're in a different city. Like I have this feeling between Samarkand and Bukhara. I just land and I feel these 2 cities are so different. And there's something so special in Bukhara that I can't explain it. and I know there's something behind that. It's not just a feeling, there are so many elements contributing to making me feel so good in Bukhara. And Bukhara is so much look like Shiraz.
You are a mother. You are a mother of a daughter. And what do you think? Most underrated part of motherhood? Well, it's really hard.
The first few months of motherhood, it's just like, especially for us who work. I went back to work when my daughter was 2.5 months, and I feel like I wasn't even fully awake. I was between, as if I was in the air. I wasn't fully aware of the space around me, because it's a new role. Like,
Yes.
suddenly a whole new role is added to your identity. And
You were in Shiraz?
no, in Paris.
In Paris.
Yes, my daughter was born in Paris. So for me, it's just like this identity part is underrated. Like, how you need to adjust. Most probably for fathers too. I don't know. But for me as a mother, it was just suddenly I had a whole new identity that I had to work with.
What I
I
need to
say
do.
it as a joke, but it's true. Once I went out with my daughter in her pram, and then on the way back, I forgot her in the lift.
Oh my God.
Because I forgot. Yes, you forget that you have, I'd never had her before. I was 30-something, and I arrived home, the lift of our own building, the elevator, and I left her, and I closed the elevator and opened the door of my apartment, and suddenly thought, oh, where is she?
I
Because
left.
this is because I think this is very, it's new, especially when you become mother later. I became a mother in my 30s. So you had the whole life and character, and this motherhood is not built into that. So, but I don't see, not difficult, just complex and complicated.
Most underrated strain of women's.
Women are much more resilient. Because of the conditions that we lived in the whole world, no matter which country, women have always to get where they are. They have worked harder. So if you see two people, one woman and one man in the same position, the woman has worked harder to get there. That working harder made her more resilient and made her more flexible, and made her more capable of being prepared for the rest of the life, So for example, I am a manager. When we recruit, not because it is actually UN policies and UNESCO policies globally, or UN policy, that we promote gender equality. So for recruitment of new staff, we are advised to, in equal situations, to give the job to women. But I don't do it just because it's a policy. I do it because I actually believe women are on equal situation, are more capable, more resilient, more flexible. Yes.
You are coming from your experience.
Yes.
Does a woman ever let go her responsibility? In society or in a family? Actually, is it possible to let go our responsibility?
Many of them, yes. But for example, to be as a mother, no, not possible. It's something that you can't separate from, a part of an identity that you introduce to your life, and then you can't do anything with it. You have to live with it. Not a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's interesting, and also society. And again, I say it, no matter where in the world, they expect women more.
Yes.
For bringing up the children. When I was coming from Paris to Uzbekistan in 2022, my daughter was 3.5 years old. My husband, at the same time, he works for the UN also. He was going to Afghanistan, my husband. I was coming to Uzbekistan. And our colleagues, no one asked him, "What about your daughter?" Everyone asked me, "What about your daughter? Where does she go to school if you go to Uzbekistan? Or you get her out of the school here?" Because, in France, they start school at 3 years old. And I was telling them, we are a couple and she's our daughters, both of us.
Yes.
But no one asked my husband. No one thinks this is the responsibility of my husband to think,
About
everyone thinks,
mother.
But what about your, as if I didn't, as if it was a decision I made to leave Paris, and like a decision I made without thinking about my daughter. Though I think my answer was that my daughter should be lucky to have the opportunity to live in another country. I don't think I truly believe in that. I don't think living your whole life in Paris or in any other city will be a privilege. I think the privilege is this, to have the experience of living in other countries, getting to know other cultures. I'm so happy for her now, but I just wanted to use an example.
Proud.
That, yes, I use an example of how the society expects more from women. I don't care about what the society expects. Just the pressure is there.
Cool. I don't care.
Okay. I mean, I have my own expectations, but if you're weak, the society pressure gets into you.
Eat you. Yeah. Need to be more like strained. Women's, what yet we're not able to realize?
I don't know. So much, really.
So many.
Yes, this is the word is not yet fully absorbed the capacity of women. We know that until we have gender equality.
For me, it's interesting. Who is for you 5 progressive women who's shaping image of Uzbekistan?
There's so many. Don't ask me to remember, because if I name 5, then I can't. What do I do about the rest?
Count 10? Top 5. Not 5. Top 5.
No, please don't ask me this question. Then if I don't name some people, it will be bad.
True strain of Uzbek women in their passion, or in their intuition, or in their work? Where?
Uzbek women are so strong, so resilient. I love watching them, seriously. And I'm always aware of. It's something I never forget. Like, I mean, in the street, when at work, I'm always aware of, wow, how strong these women are. And I think it's because
the positive meaning.
Yes, and I think it's because they had, like, generationally, they had to deal with so much difficulties. I think the history made Uzbek women so strong. I love watching them thrive.
Oh, inspiring. You don't have, but I want like a portrait of modern Uzbek girl or woman.
No, I don't think there is one portrait. I don't think there is a model portrait. I think everyone is different. It's just
no unique portrait.
No, I mean, everyone is different. They need, we have to just give everyone. I mean, the country has to try to give every woman the possibilities to choose what they would like to become. So there is no model of modern
21st century's girl, Uzbek girl.
No.
Okay.
The Uzbek women, young women, they want to have it all. They want, and it's like, I see, I mean, it's a difficult, it's a difficult task they took for themselves. Like, they want to be fashionable, young, beautiful, have several kids, have a career, and many of them do.
Yes,
I think with the help of their families, most probably.
They are doing and it is actually for you unique, and this is cool. They are like handling and family,
yes,
and career and themselves,
and the mother-in-laws,
fashion, mother-in-laws.
They also handle mother-in-laws.
Let's move to the quiz. Samarkand or Bukhara?
Bukhara.
Again, Bukhara. Okay. Adras or Suzanne?
Address.
Khorazm Lazge or Fergana School dancing move?
Fergana School of Dancing.
Doppe or Chapan?
Japan.
Osma or Suzma? Surma.
Surma.
Okay, I'm sure, but let's do Osma. No, and we finished.
Safar, what do you call home today?
Thank you. That's blue. Thank you. That's blue. Rahmat. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It's as beautiful as yours. Thanks. Bye. Bye.